Some breaking news at this hour, and it seems a new way forward is being charted for SAA. The Public Enterprises Department has just released a statement. They say that SAA is going to be transformed into a new and dynamic airline. They're bringing in strategic partners, it seems, with the sale of non-core assets. To break it down for us, I'm joined from our newsroom by Heidi Jokos, who's been watching developments at SAA for a very long time now. Good evening to you, Heidi. What exactly is the department saying? The tone of the press release is very excited. It's peppered with words like bold and audacious and dynamic and compact, and we've reached an agreement between the minister and the workers. So tell us what it actually means.
Definitely, Sally. I actually have it in my hand, and it took me a couple of minutes to get through the whole thing and to actually understand what they're trying to say. But it seems as though the Department of Public Enterprises has formed a leadership compact that has been signed with all parties, obviously affected by this SAA issue that's been going on. But basically what the department has come out to say is that they are going to restructure SAA. The old form of SAA will no longer be. They are on the journey of a new airline. It's key to emphasize the fact that they've used the word restructured airline, and they're basically saying this is the beginning of a new journey to a restructured airline, and this will be a proud flagship for South Africa. So those words speak to unionised members had until 5 o'clock today to sign that proposal by the business rescue practitioners to retrench the entire workforce. Now you have the Department of Public Enterprises coming in and saying that there's going to be a new kind of airline, but it's going to come with a lot of pain and sacrifice. And we do understand that there will be massive job losses here, given the fact that it's a new version. So it will obviously start off a lot more smaller until it's able to pick up its wings again. Also, given the uncertainty around the aviation industry globally, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the statement speaks to that and says there is still a lot of uncertainty as to how a new airline will be formed due to the uncertainty around where the world is going when it comes to COVID-19. So the minister is not shying away from the fact that they are starting a new chapter, they're starting a new book when it comes to SAA, but there is still a lot of uncertainty as to how that will be created.
One does wonder what strategic partners might be interested in any airline across the globe at this stage, but we do know that from crisis can come opportunity. This is not the first time a strategic partner has been floated for SAA. If my memory serves me correctly, this is something that there were allegations that were scuppered. This plan was scuppered by former SAA board chairperson Dudu Myeni a few years back. Am I correct?
That's indeed correct, Sally. There were lots of opportunities for SAA, bringing in strategic partners, people wanting to come in and actually buy the whole of SAA, never mind strategic partners, but this never seemed to emerge for a number of reasons, and many people are saying that perhaps it's the wrong time to bring in a strategic partner, because who would want to invest into any kind of airline in this given climate? But the department is obviously optimistic. They're probably in talks with people. We know in a different scenario, different SOE airline, SA Express, there seems to be some kind of buyer there. So perhaps there's potential when it comes to SAA, but it's all very uncertain and it's all up in the air in terms of who the strategic partner is, who has that money to pump into SAA. But the department is, of course, in talks with various people, and it's key to remember that they still want to be a key role player in the new form of SAA. But I think it's some positivity for the airline, even though there's going to be a lot of pain and, as the statement says, suffering and hardship moving forward. Hopefully it will try and save as many jobs, because we're looking at over 4,500 jobs at SAA that could potentially be lost, but hopefully they'll be re-employed with this new form. The details are unclear because they're still trying to discuss the way forward, and through this leadership compact that's been signed, they are trying to pave a way for a new airline.
Do you think it's just kicking the can down the road, or a sign that government really is committed to supporting industries that have been particularly hard hit because of COVID-19, not forgetting, of course, that SAA was in severe dire straits before the pandemic hit?
The issues around SAA did not just start about a month ago, 2 months ago, when all airlines were starting to buckle under, but it seems as though the department is determined to try and save the airline in some way or another. And Sally, if we just look at how many bailouts SAA has received in the last last couple of years and how much support they've received from government fiscus, how many times budget has allocated billions to the airline. Again, the department is saying that even though there are no funds available right now, perhaps there is some kind of way that we can save the airline in whatever way possible. And the statement is very clear in saying that, you know, we might be promising a new airline, but it's going to be challenging. And it's not clear how they plan on doing this, but it's some positivity, I would say, for all affected parties, for government itself. They are determined to try and save this as much as possible. It probably won't be in the same form and shape as they clearly stipulate, but it is I think it is some kind of positivity. We've also been speaking to unions throughout the day. I've been speaking to them for weeks, and they are saying that the department has been very forthcoming in trying to listen to all the proposals and plans put on the table, because unions are saying we know how to say this, we know what we can do. There are corrupt deals within SAA that can save billions.
It does seem a little bit odd, though, because just a couple of weeks ago, the 10 billion rand was denied. Now they're saying we're going to save it. You can't save something without putting some money in. Do you think there's been some real change of heart in the back room somewhere?
I don't think there's been a change of heart when it comes to the funding of SAA in its current form, but I think there might be some kind of potential in terms of saving the airline in its new form, so pumping money into its new form and, of course, bringing in any kind of investment that it can, and that strategic partner will, of course, have a heavy hand to play in terms of funding the new airline. The Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni, yesterday made it very clear that they will not be pumping money into struggling SOEs. He didn't mention any, but he did say that their aim is and focus right now is to save the land bank and not to be pumping money into poor-performing SOEs that are straining the fiscus. And given what the country is going through right now in COVID-19, it's going to be particularly hard for government to motivate as to why they even considered funding a struggling airline when all airlines are struggling globally. So in terms of funding for SAA in its current form, I don't think that's a possibility right now, but maybe in a new form or shape. Also, Sally, before we end off, I need to highlight the fact that workers were paid for April at SAA, and we understand that as of today, the 1st of May, they are on unpaid leave because there is no certainty as where money will come from at the end of May to pay workers. So it's going to be a very tough road ahead, but hopefully there'll be a new airline emerging from the ashes, as our Finance Minister would say.
Thank you very much, Heidi Jacobs, on that breaking news at this hour. And it seems that an agreement has been made between the Public Enterprises Minister and SAA workers, a bold and audacious plan for a new dynamic airline looking potentially for strategic partners.